Get loud in the comment section, Saints fans. Would you hire Jon Gruden? There's some reports out there that there's mutual interest between the Saints and the former Raiders head coach. So I want you to be the GM. Would you bring in Chucky? Type higher or pass in the comment section. And as for what we're diving into on today's video, if you couldn't tell, it's going to be about Jon Gruden and if he's joining the New Orleans Saints. And then at the end of the video, we're going to be giving out some shout-outs to some real ones. I repped the Real One shirt today on purpose. So stick around for your shout-out, and let's dive into the latest Saints rumors. So like I teased off the top of the show, there are reports that the New Orleans Saints are considering bringing Jon Gruden in for a role on their offensive coaching staff. Now, that doesn't mean that they're considering him for the offensive coordinator position. I'm going to dive into that here in just a moment, but we all knew this was coming. We all knew that Jon Gruden was going to be, at least linked to the New Orleans Saints this upcoming offseason. Well, now we're in the offseason. We all knew that he was going to be linked. We all knew that Jon Gruden is going to be a hot topic for the Saints offense in terms of a person that could come in and help with the offense and their production. And as we know, we've shown this graphic before on the channel a handful of times, but Derek Carr, his stats with Jon Gruden versus without Gruden are actually pretty impressive when you look at the two side by side. Now, obviously, without Gruden, there is more years there, so a larger sample size, but the completion percentage is higher for Jon Gruden. With Gruden, the yards per game higher by almost 30 whole yards, favoring Jon Gruden. The touchdowns, 90 to 41. I mean, Derek Carr played some of his best football with Chucky as his head coach. And in case you didn't know this, or in case you were living under a rock, Jon Gruden actually came in as an unpaid consultant during training camp for the Saints this past offseason. He kind of not stayed on staff because he wasn't like a paid staff member, but he helped out and he was around the New Orleans Saints and he kind of was a voice in the back of their heads. Not really in the back of their heads, but he was a voice that kind of was throwing in hey, here's an opinion. Hey, here's an idea, just kind of behind the scenes throughout the season. And when you look at Derek Carr over the last 5 games, obviously the start of the season, it was rocky, it was rough, and not a lot of fans were happy about it. But when the last 5 games went down, Carr was playing on another level, 74.5 completion percentage, over 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That 7-to-1 TD to interception ratio is really nice. And a passer rating of 117.2. Carr was slicing and dicing, and he was carving up defenses in the last few games of the season. That Rams game, I wish we could have seen more. But, hey, he's played some good football, and I think that that's something that we all have to look at and kind of understand and kind of come to terms with. I know a lot of y'all were Derek Carr haters. I had my fair share of critiques for Derek Carr, but played good football. And Dennis Allen understands that changes need to happen. He understands that we can't go into next season just with the exact same coaching staff, with the exact same roster, in the exact same situation. So we're going to dive into what Allen had to say in terms of the changes he's going to make this upcoming offseason. I keep saying upcoming offseason. I can't get out of the habit of that. But during this offseason. But guys, this is why you subscribe, because if there's any notable updates, news, rumors, reports, or anything notable around your New Orleans Saints, we got you covered, and that's why you subscribe and turn on your notifications. So that way you can be the most informed and smartest Saints fan in your squad. Lock us in. Almost 26,000 subs. Didn't happen on accident. All right, so Dennis Allen in his press conference yesterday to kind of close out the season said, we have to look at what we need to change. And I'm not going to get into any of the details today in terms of what changes will occur. But there's things that will have to be different. Now, if you ask me, do y'all remember what happened with Rob Ryan back in 2015? The Saints had Rob Ryan as their DC. They brought in Dennis Allen and hired him, and then a handful of games into the season, they canned him and made Dennis Allen the full-time offensive coordinator. Kind of feels like that could be the route that they're going with Pete Carmichael and Jon Gruden if they end up bringing him in for a full-time position. Of note here, though, Jon Gruden doesn't have an active lawsuit with the NFL ongoing. And on October 12th, back in 2021, kind of wild. I was in college back then and that day. Gruden resigned from the Raiders after some emails were released. Not going to get into the details of what those emails entailed. You can go to Twitter. You can do a simple Google search, and it's pretty easy to find. Jon Gruden is suing the NFL, like I said, and Roger Goodell, the commissioner, for damages to his reputation and his career. Led to him not having a job because of all of this. There's some rumors and some ideas that there's like somebody in the NFL like leaked it, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into all the details of it. But actually tomorrow, we're filming this video on Tuesday, January 9th. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 10th, there will be a Supreme Court hearing in Nevada around this lawsuit. So, maybe we'll get some clarity and some answers as to what could happen with him in the future tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe and tune in, because we'll have an update for you. And like I said, there's reports of mutual interest between both Jon Gruden and the New Orleans Saints. And I said it earlier, it makes sense. Like, we all saw this coming. Whether or not you want Gruden or you don't want Gruden, you can't tell me and say, you can't sit here and tell me that you didn't see this coming. Like, come on, guys. Like, Gruden and Carr. The Saints have already tried to become the Las Vegas Raiders. We might as well rebrand ourselves to the New Orleans Raiders at this point. But we all saw this coming. And the mutual interest, there's reports of it. Jeff Duncan put out a whole article about it and a whole, write-up on New Orleans or on NOLA.com. So go read that if you want more information. But guys, I want you to shout him out for me. Who do you want to be the offensive coordinator next season? Do you want it to be a guy like Jon Gruden? Do you want it to be somebody that like Pete Carmichael? You want it to be somebody different? I need you to let me know in the comment section, who do you want to be the OC in 2024? And guys, we have a little bit more to talk about. And I still got to give you my shout-outs to all of our real ones. We got 10 shout-outs to give. But today's show is sponsored by Fanatics. And guys, I was trying to go and see if there was some interesting things that I wanted to go buy after Christmas. I got some extra money. I got some birthday money left over. So I wanted to go get myself some Saints gear. And I think I might be going and getting one of these jerseys. I already have a Tyrann Mathieu jersey. It's the black home jersey. But I can tell you right now, I do not have an away jersey, and I don't have an Olave jersey. So this one might be the next one I order, and I'm ordering mine at chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. I encourage you to do the same. We have pretty much every player you want. We got home, we got away, we got color rush, we got men's, we got women's, we got kids, we got everything. So if you want to go get geared up, swagged out, and iced out, go to chatsports.com/Saints jerseys. That link is in the comment section and description of this video, because I love you and because you're my best friends. Hey, guys, and to kind of round things out, I'm just going to give you guys some last minute updates and some final thoughts, of course. And of note, Jon Gruden did meet with the New Orleans Saints prior to that Week 17 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't know if y'all remember watching that game. Carr was good. Carr was also really good against the Falcons. And after meeting with Gruden, Carr put up some really good numbers, guys. He played really, really good. Almost 200 yards against Tampa, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against Atlanta, 274 yards. 22-28 against Atlanta, 24-32 against Tampa Bay. And the passer ratings over 100 on both of those. Great days from DC after the Saints and Carr met with Gruden. So I think that that's pretty interesting, and I think that that's very telling. Carr was playing really good. They met with Jon Gruden. I wonder if that has anything to do with each other. So some final thoughts. No doubt that the New Orleans Saints finished on a very strong note. They were playing really good football. To be quite honest, if you ask me, I think the Saints deserve to be in the playoffs over the Buccaneers. Kind of backpedaling. They don't feel like they're playing their best ball. Saints, on the other hand, it feels like they are playing their best ball, and they were playing their best ball in the last few weeks, last 5-6 weeks of the season. So, unfortunately, the Saints aren't going to be having a playoff run, which blows. But in terms of bringing in Jon Gruden, I would rather go get somebody that's a little bit younger and that doesn't have any controversy around him. I don't want distractions. It's plain and simple. Politics completely aside, opinions about people completely aside. I want somebody who's young, has a fresh mind, understands the modern game of football, and has no distractions. I think that's the best thing for this team. So if you disagree, I don't know what to tell you, because I feel like that's what we all want. We just want a guy who's smart, who's young, who will be around for a while, and could be a great leader and a great culture piece to this team. So Dennis Allen also did address Saints fans in his postgame or in his press conference after everything happened, or after the season. He said, "I appreciate the fans that we have, because I do think we have some of the best fans in all of pro sports. I do think there's a connection between our fans and the city. much like the New Orleans Saints have done over the past, call it 20, 15 years. We battled through some hard times, and we've come out on the other side of the storm. I fully expect us to come outside of the storm, or come out on the other side of the storm once again. So, final thoughts here. I think that what Dennis Allen said right there was pretty cool. I think that it was nice for him to show like some love to the Saints fans. Be like, you know what? I understand it's been tough. I understand it's been hard, but it's not like something we haven't done before. We've been through the ringer. We're going to come back out, and we're going to hoist the Lombardi trophy once again. If it's under him, if it's the next couple of years, awesome. If it's not, well, things can always get better than they are this year. So I think everyone's leashes should be short in 2024, whether it's Allen, whether it's Gruden, whether it's Carmichael. I don't care. Everyone's leash needs to be short, including Mickey Loomis, because I don't want to lose Kai Harley to another job in the next offseason. I don't know if he leaves this offseason, but next offseason, you got a young guy in Kai Harley who could be a great GM for a long time with this organization. So I think everyone's leash needs to be short in 2024. So I'm curious whether or not y'all agree. But let me hear you, Saints fans. Will Pete Carmichael get fired this offseason? Type fired or keep. Whether, what do you think is going to happen with the current Saints offensive coordinator? There's no buzz on whether or not he is going to be fired right now, so I want you to let me know. What do you think? And as promised, here is our shout-outs to some real ones. Yesterday, I rewarded anyone who stuck around through the entire video, and I picked 10 people to give a shout-out to, so if I missed you, I'm sorry, but we'll give you an opportunity in another future video. Gary V, Jim Hanlon, Lucas Palmer, Mikey Taylor, EJB Praise, Easton Smith, FC Arturo. If that's a picture of you and your newborn baby with your girl, congratulations. I love the Saints onesie for your kid. Queen Courtney, shout out to you, girl. You're an absolute legend. U.S. champ and Two Stands Fishing. Shout out to all of you. Y'all are some real ones, including a ton of other viewers here. But as always, Saints fans, y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.